It feels like there are more games coming out that have more drama surrounding it, and the conversation surrounding those games isn't about the game, it's about developers pointing fingers about why that game failed, or why something they have poured their hearts into for a number of years didn't do so well. That's what it feels like right now with highguard. We all know what just happened. They had mass layoffs, the game wasn't received well publicly, and gamers just didn't have a good time with it. And so, what happens? What's the reaction to that? What is the cause and effect? Well, the effect is a lot of developers are now coming out from Wildlight Entertainment and just talking about their experiences and kind of giving a retrospective about what happened to highguard and why it failed. And quite honestly, it feels like there's not a lot of internal looking, a lot of self-reflection in these things. It's more of a finger pointing to not only gamers and blaming gamers, but looking at media and seeing them as the enemy too. I don't know what's going on. There just seems to be this big divide between gamers, developers, and even gaming journalists. And I want to cover all of this because it just annoys me right now what's going on in the industry and why it seems like some developers who are here to bring creativity forward and have us experience these awesome games are just blaming us for something that no gamer had any input on, aka developing a product that just wasn't good. So let's get into this. All right, so you know the drill. If you want to keep up to date on all the gaming news and the games industry news going on, hit that like button and that subscribe button. It helps out the channel more than you know. So we're going to just jump right into this because we're going to be talking about Josh Sobel, who is a tech artist at Wildlight. Now, this person has a lot of experience, it seems, in the games industry and worked on highguard for a number of years. And after the layoffs happened and everything happened with highguard where it wasn't well received and we've seen players basically just walk away from it, he decided to put out a post to talk about what happened or what they think, or he thinks specifically, happened to highguard. He wants to talk about all of the things that happened and starts pointing the fingers at a lot of things. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad in this, so let's just jump into the post and see what he was saying. Reflecting on shipping my first game, highguard. Apologies for the length, been wanting to say a lot of this for a while. The day leading to the Game Awards 2025 was amongst the most exciting of my life. After 2.5 years of passionately working on highguard, we were ready to reveal it to the world. The future seemed bright. Everyone I knew who had any connection to the team or project had the same sentiments. This is lightning in a bottle. I trust this team wholeheartedly. If there's one project nobody in the industry is worried will fail, it's yours. This has mainstream hit written all over it. There's no way this will flop. I could play this game all day. I just need to kind of stop there, actually, because this is, to me, if it's his first game that he shipped, then he's talking to people internally, it seems, and people are talking about this and just giving him feedback, maybe from other studios, maybe other developers within Wildlight Entertainment, or maybe just people that came over and gave consultations from other studios. All I know is that this isn't gamers' feedback. And maybe it is. Maybe it's some gamers that no one knows who it is and they haven't come out and said they played the game years ago. But it seems like it's this silo of developers and these people that build games telling you specifically, this game is great. It's a little bit of a pat on the back. Everybody knows what's going on here. I don't like that. I know that that's what you got from professionals in the industry. But if you've seen anything going on in the industry, it doesn't seem like a lot of people within the games industry itself or studios know what gamers want. There are far more games failing every day than there are games blowing up, succeeding every day. So I think this is a bad point to put out there, that you have this self-validation already. You have this thing where you're telling yourself, we got all this great self-validation from people in the industry. What happened? Well, let's go more into what he had to say. The internal pre-reveal feedback, even from unbiased sources, was quite positive, and where it was negative, it was constructive and often actionable. People who played the game, including us, had a blast. And since we were in the independent, self-published studio built with royalties in mind, many of us were hoping this could finally be the thing that broke the millennial financial curse. There you go again. You guys had a blast with the game. Congratulations, you built it. You are too close to the problem. You are too close to this product to give natural feedback. As somebody that is in software development and somebody that has built products and helped build products and have received harsh feedback from users, this is not how you measure up your product. Just because you had a blast with it doesn't mean others will. Just because maybe somebody internally, other developers had a blast with it, doesn't mean others did. That is the whole point of product management and product ownership. You need to get feedback from people that you are trying to appeal to, which is gamers. And I didn't even touch the royalties part, where of course you're going to say it's great because you have royalties tied to this game, which will help you financially later down the line in life. That is something that you need to step away from and put behind you, where you don't put that front forward and say this game is great because you kind of took a gamble by working there if the royalties are a big reason why you work there. That was a risk you took, and that's totally okay and fine, and it has paid off for others. But maybe others took feedback from people that mattered, aka the gamers, internal testers, people that came over and gave you huge feedback. And I don't know what happened with the feedback, because within, was it like a week or a couple days, you got feedback immediately at launch where people were asking for 5v5 instead of 3v3. You guys implemented it really quickly and then made it permanent. You didn't launch with it. So what feedback did you get if something so simple as changing how many players are in the game was something that wasn't given? I don't buy it. I just don't. And maybe you did have feedback and those people were being biased or unbiased. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like you got the feedback you needed. But let's keep going. But then the trailer came out and it was all downhill from there. Content creators love to point out the bias in folks who give positive previews after being flown out for an event, but ignore the fact that when their negative leaning content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, they've got just as much incentive to lean into a disingenuous direction, whether consciously or not. This actually annoys me very much because while negativity does sell, I'll give you that. I understand that. That's not what happened with highguard. Is it with some people, some content creators that want to farm that? Sure, I can see that. But I will not sit here and think that negativity is the only thing that sells. Look at games that are blowing up. Look at Arc Raiders. People love that game and make positive content of that and stream it and get a lot of viewers. People like surrounding themselves around success stories like that. That's a good thing to do. Look at Helldivers 2. Look at all the games that have come out. Look at God of War. Look at all these games, these big hit franchises that get a lot of views. GTA 6. GTA 5 is massively, massively successful, and people love it. You don't see anybody attacking it and getting 30 million times the views. If it's a good game, gamers will come to it, and gamers will want to consume more content surrounding that game. And also, gamers enjoy drama, so yes, when there is negativity, they're going to watch it. The problem is, your game was free, and people went and played it, and then walked away, and then went to go see the crash out that was happening, because that's exactly what happened. It's the end of it. You are trying to discredit people online instantly, people that create content, and then you almost try to discredit people that even make positive content because they're flown out. You're trying to kill everything, scorched earth, so to speak. That's what you're trying to do here, where you shouldn't trust anything, but we know we made a good game. That's what you're saying, and it's disingenuous. No, your product development was disingenuous, and your product salesman to your consumers was disingenuous. Straight up, you didn't play test this. That's disingenuous. You didn't get feedback, and you should have. A lot more feedback. Maybe even public testing, open betas, something to just get more constructive feedback to show that you care on what you're building towards the people you want to get into your game, which is gamers. But let's keep going. The hate started immediately. In addition to dogpiling on the trailer, I personally came under fire due to my naivete on Twitter, which almost all of my now former coworkers had learned to avoid during their previous game launches. After setting my Twitter account to private to protect my sanity, many content creators made videos and posts about me and my cowardice, amassing millions of views and inadvertently sending hundreds of angry gamers into my replies. They laughed at me for being proud of the game, told me to get out of McDonald's application, which they seemed to think was evidence in the game would be woke trash. All of this was very emotionally taxing. That's actually horrible that happened to you. I'm going to be honest. Anybody that goes and actively seeks someone out to bring them down is not cool. I don't enjoy that. I don't like that. I don't think that's cool. You put your art out there, you put your work out there, and that is a very brave thing to do. Straight up, every developer that puts stuff out there, it's very hard for them to do that. And it's very brave of them to do that because you're putting your work out there to be criticized by every person from a walk of life. It's true. That's what happens. And that's rough. So that sucks that it happened. I wish it didn't. And it's horrible that it did. So anybody that does that and goes and attacks people, it sucks. And as somebody that's a content creator and has been for a little while now, I understand. People come at me all the time. I just ignore them. And you're right. It was a little bit of a naive thing for you to even engage in these things because I've never engaged with people that did that. I walk away from them. And maybe early on when I started, I engaged a little bit, but you just walk away from those things. You just tell people, you don't mean anything. It doesn't matter. You're just attacking me to attack me. It's not about the game. You're just trying to bring somebody down for no reason. And I find that disingenuous completely and just not needed. So that sucks. There is much constructive criticism that can be and has been said about highguard's trailer, marketing, and launch, but I don't think it's my place to commentate on that. I also don't think there's any way to know whether the launch would have fared better or worse without the massive spotlight that was thrown onto us in response to the Game Awards trailer placement, but we never had the chance. I agree. I think that the Jeff Keighley thing kind of hurt you. I think Jeff Keighley has a lot of people that don't like him. So when he posts things and then he's actually kind of mocking people saying, you're going to apologize to me in 48 hours, he put a bunch of stuff out there that really put you guys under the microscope. I will say that. I don't like that. I think that maybe the game would have had a little bit more success if that wasn't the case. And to be quite honest, I don't think you would have 100,000 people at launch playing it if it wasn't for that trailer, because most of the people are just enjoy looking at a train wreck and they just want to go see what it is. And they checked the game out, left, reviewed it, and that's it. Or they just played it, walked away, didn't enjoy it. Simple. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You would not have gotten the people up to 100,000, I don't think. And also you would not have gotten as much hate, I don't think. So a little bit of a weird thing that is you just never know and you can't question it and you can't think about that because you can't control it. It is what happened. You put it at the end of the show, got a lot of eyeballs on it, and then you guys disappeared because you weren't ready for the backlash and you weren't ready to market this game because you were supposed to shadow drop it completely. You went against your fundamental of what you were trying to market this game with, which was a shadow drop like Apex Legends, but didn't execute it in the proper manner like Apex Legends. You kind of got a little trigger happy and you went first at the Game Awards because you think eyeballs, people are going to see us and want to play this. And you made a trailer that didn't really fit the game, quite honestly. It just didn't. It didn't feel like highguard. Even when I played it, the trailer doesn't make sense compared to what I played. And I played hours of that game, and I thoroughly actually enjoyed myself for some of it, and then others not so much. So this is coming from somebody that enjoyed your game, but not to the point where it would pull me away from games like Apex Legends or other multiplayer games I'm playing. Just my feedback. Let's go back into what's happening. We were turned into a joke from minute one, largely due to false assumptions about $1 million ad placement, which even prominent journalists soon began to state as fact. Within minutes, it was decided. This game was dead on arrival, and creators now had free rage bait content for a month. Every one of our videos on social media got downvoted to hell. Comment sections were flooded with copy-paste meme phrases such as Concord 2 and Titanfall 3 died for this. At launch, we received over 14,000 review bombs from users with less than an hour of playtime. Many didn't even finish the required tutorial. Were there review bombs? Yeah, I mean, any gamer that said there wasn't is just lying to themselves. It's true. There were people that just launched the game, probably ran it for 20 minutes, and then put a review out, or however long you need to put a review out, and said what they needed to say because it was the funny thing to do. But also, if it was actually a really good game that captured people, you would have had a lot more people stick around. I mean, you can see like it just completely declined the whole way from 100,000 or 97,000, whatever it was, and it just kept trickling down because nobody wanted to play it because they didn't enjoy themselves. That's just what it is. They didn't enjoy themselves. So I do think it's a little bit of two ways of that. I think that, yes, there is review bombing, but I also think that people genuinely didn't like the game because it wasn't made for them or it wasn't tested thoroughly for gamers to enjoy en masse. So maybe you had a few people that enjoyed it and still play it to this day, but you didn't appeal to the masses like that feedback that you got earlier that we talked about, where people said, this isn't going to flop. You have a sure hit. This is lightning in a bottle, blah, blah, blah. All these people giving you feedback. That was just you guys in a echo chamber, just telling each other, good job. So yeah, there is review bombing. And yeah, people didn't like it. Two things can be true at once. That's the greatness of that. In discussions online about highguard, Concord, 2XKO, and such, it is often pointed out by gamers that devs like to blame gamers for their failures, and that's silly. As if gamers have no power, but they do. A lot of it. I'm not saying our failure is purely the fault of gamer culture and that the game would have thrived without the negative discourse, but it absolutely played a role. All products are at the whims of the consumers, and the consumers put absurd amounts of effort into slandering highguard, and it worked. They put more effort into slandering highguard than you put effort into reaching consumers to test highguard. That's the problem. You didn't reach out to gamers. You didn't reach out to people that play these games constantly. You didn't go into forums. You didn't go and talk to people, try to get people to play your game, give honest feedback, give harsh feedback. You just didn't do that. That's just not what happened. Nobody was talking about this game. Nobody knew this game was coming. So you didn't do any of that. And you thought you had a awesome game that you felt really good about, but you did that internally. Again, it's the same thing. Sure, you're saying that, oh, it's not gaming culture, but you are still blaming gamers at the end of the day here. Because yeah, the gamers do have all the power because we're the ones that honestly pay your bills. That's what gamers are. We're consumers. Without us, you guys don't have a studio. Without us, no publisher has a studio. Nobody does. That's what it is. You make a product, we buy it. You're making a product for us gamers. So make it for us gamers in mind. Don't make it for all these people that gave you feedback in mind. Be like, you know what? This is great that we got this feedback. Let's get some real gamers, some people that play these games constantly, and let's see if they like it. I guarantee you would have a really different game of what highguard is than what it launched with. You would have a very different game if you had people actually helping you develop this game and test it. Just my 2 cents. So yeah, they did put a lot of effort into slandering it, but honestly, it didn't take that much effort because the game didn't stand on its own 2 feet. So it wasn't like people went out of their way and created things that sucked. It just sucked. Parts of it just were not great. Learn. Live and learn, man. That's all that is. Many of Wildlight's former devs will now be forced to assimilate back into the actual corporate industry many gamers accused Wildlight of being a part of. Now every time someone thinks about leaving the golden handcuffs behind in favor of making a new multiplayer game the indie way, they'll say, but remember how gamers didn't even give Wildlight a chance? Soon, if this pattern continues, all that will be left are corporations, at least in the multiplayer space. Innovation is on life support. Okay, this is where I actually kind of disagree, because you're saying that everybody's just going to really look back at Wildlight as this, oh my God, that's the prime example of a game failing, so no other games can succeed. What? No, man. You just didn't make a great game, and so people didn't play it. And if you look at Steam, and if you look at the sales numbers, and if you look at what's happening in the AAA industry comparatively to the indie industry, indie games are clearing house right now. They are selling multiple millions of copies, having ultra successful launches, and people are loving them. That is what's happening. People aren't buying AAA games because there are too many cooks in the kitchen, and people don't understand what gamers want, and it's become way more corporate than you think. And that is a problem. When a small developer from Expedition 33 can win Game of the Year with like 30-something people making that game, what is happening in the industry then? What is going on? There's not a lot of AAA developers out there that have a plug-in into what gamers want, and it's hard for them to understand that. So when you make a game like this, and you said you did it the indie way, and I get it, move fast, fail fast, learn fast. That's what product management is. That's what you do in software development, and I get that. But you failed very fast. And that's the problem, is that you didn't take those failures and learn from them. And in fact, it doesn't seem like you had any failures because you didn't have anybody come in and tell you it was a failure. So all the fails and everything that you had that you stumbled upon, you thought were successes. That's the problem here. You can't point it as, oh, gamers, you can't get mad when something like this fails and then all you're going to get is not innovative games. No, we're buying indie games. You're seeing gamers flock to those games and play them like crazy. That's the issue that you don't see, is that gamers are buying innovative games, but it's just made by people that have a real vision of what their game is, and it's a small team making it. And yet they're able to bring out content that gamers want. It's the big developers that think they know what they know, and they think they know what gamers know, and they want all of that stuff, and they're like, we're going to put it in there. And then when you get horrible feedback, you start pointing the finger at the gamers instead of yourselves. So stop doing that. Maybe look internally and understand that, hey, maybe we just didn't make a game that applied to gamers, and maybe we didn't make a game that applied to gamers now. Maybe we should start looking at the people that have been here instead of starting to reach a new audience or a new breed of shooter. Whatever, man. Maybe figure it out a little bit better. Even if highguard had a rocky launch, our independent, self-published, dev-led studio full of passionate people just trying to make a fun game with zero AI and zero corporate oversight deserve better than this. We deserve the bare minimum of not having our downfall be gleefully manifested. I wish the best of luck to the few who remain at Wildlight and hope highguard can stay the course. I still believe in it, and so do the fans we reached who continue to champion it on the subreddit, Discord, Twitch, and social media. And even though this adventure has come to an abrupt and emotionally challenging close, I don't regret 1 second of it. And yeah, I never wished this game to fail. I never thought like, oh, I want this game to just move away and get negative. I'm not that type of person. I gave the game a chance, and a pretty good chance. I tried to get others to play with me. Quite honestly, I tried to get my friends to play, and only about 2 of them came. And after an hour or 2 of them playing it, they just were like, I'm not into this. I don't really understand it. I don't really like it. I don't like the feel of it. And they moved on. And I'm not going to force them to. That's the thing. It kind of reminds me of what's going on in the AAA industry, where they're trying to reach new gamers or new people that are really not in the gaming space. And instead of focusing on your core group of gamers that you're trying to reach, you're trying to reach every core group of gamer, which you shouldn't do. Because when you make something for everyone, you made it for no one. So the beautiful thing about marketing is that sometimes you don't have to market when it's a great game. What you can do is have a core group of people that you're trying to reach, and they'll love it so much that it'll start having them try to reach their friends and everyone else, so word of mouth gets around. The best marketing is word of mouth, and the best marketing is gamers that love your game will bring people to that game because they love it, because we all love to share into the things that we enjoy. That's the whole point. We like to share those things with people. And Wildlight just wasn't shared because it wasn't loved by many, and it wasn't liked by anybody. So that is the problem that you have to look internally and understand. Stop blaming gamers. Stop making this excuse that we are the problem. At some point, can we be the problem? Yeah, of course. At some point, I'm not going to be naive and say, no, it's all you. No, I think gamers have a hand in this, but I don't think it's the main hand that you should be playing. I think it's more look internally, understand what kind of product you made, and move forward. And maybe on your next one that you start to build things and stop making excuses and get people involved and get real harsh criticism. Because that's something I don't see a lot of gamers or developers are giving each other. That's what I don't see. And it's also the media too. Give harsh criticism. When you get flown out, who cares? Who cares? You got flown out, whoop-de-doo. Give harsh criticism to the game you're seeing. That's what we need. We need that type of feedback. Because if we're not giving them harsh criticism, then we're not really wanting them to succeed, right? That's the whole point. I'm sure there's a bunch of people that have talked about like my harshest friend is my closest friend because that harsh friend actually wants the best for you, and they're going to tell you something that you don't want to hear. That's what gamers are going to do about your game. Let them tell you what you don't want to hear. Stop inviting the people that like the game or the people that are going like out of their way to be like, yeah, this is great. Be like, great, thank you for the feedback. We'll take it. We'll put it there. This is what you liked about it. Get that feedback and be like, does this feedback coincide with everybody else's? And if it doesn't, see why. Maybe somebody's being disingenuous. Maybe somebody actually does like it and they're a different gamer, a different core gamer that you're looking at. Or maybe you can integrate the two of them with compromise and both those gamers like it after a while. That's the whole point. Compromise, understanding, and moving forward. So stop looking at gamers, stop blaming media, stop all this, because even media blames gamers and gamers blame the media, and then gamers blame devs and devs blame gamers. It's like, who cares, man? Just make a damn good game and nobody would care. Nobody would talk crap about it. Nobody would talk shit. Everybody would just love the game and move on and be like, shut up and just start playing it. And you would have a lot of people playing it. Anyways, I want to know what everybody else thinks about this. Go in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Did you play highguard at all? Did you enjoy it? Were you one of the people that played it for 45 minutes and gave it a review? Or did you give it a shot and play it for a few hours like I did? Or a lot more than a few hours? And did you just kind of, it didn't kind of jive with you or your friends so you moved on? Let me know down below because I really want to know what people think about this because this is a very intriguing topic. and it's starting to get a little annoying that everybody starts to point the finger at gamers instead of pointing the finger at themselves. So let me know down below what you think. And of course, if you want more videos like this talking about the games industry or gaming news and anything like that, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Helps out the channel more than you know. You can also follow me on Twitter at Zocker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest thoughts and everything like that about the industry. So go on there and follow me. And of course, let me know what you're playing. I always try to talk about that after every video. Let me know what you're playing. I always want to get an idea of what people are playing. Mainly single player games, multiplayer games right now. I'm playing Apex Legends. Funny enough, I'm playing TFT. And I'm jumping in for single player Black Myth Wukong. I'm on chapter 3 or 4, I think. Really enjoying that game. I'm like 15, 20 hours in or something like that. That game is a lot of fun. I missed out like a year and a half ago when it came out. That was a mess up. But let me know what you're playing down below. And like always, that's all for now. And until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.